Boom! Welcome back to another episode of Unbreakable Confidence. It's your host, Ryan Romano, and I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Bryan Raschilla. Man, I'm super excited. We were finally able to find some time together and be able to, A, catch up selfishly, personally, and as a friend, and then B, just chat it up and pick your brain about some of these fun topics.
Let's do it, man. It's been too long. You've got to keep coming back out, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, I'm down with some Oregon weather too. So if you don't know Bryan, obviously he's the associate head coach over at Oregon State University. He's got multiple team national titles coaching under his belt, and he's just a legend. That's what he is. I don't know another way to put it. He's just an utter legend. So we'll just dive right into things, get things kicked off. So my big question mostly for everyone is, there's this idea of, I believe that everybody has, these unique abilities and these unique superpowers within themselves. So for you, especially, and it could be as a person, it can be as a coach, what would you say are like those one or two like uniquenesses about you that just help you stand out? Like I said, either as a person or what you bring to the table in terms of coaching.
I think the first thing, I'm not fantastic about talking about myself. So probably the biggest thing that makes me stand out is that I'm a 6'5" gymnastics coach.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
I can't tell you how many times per year or, just in general, I get the, you don't look like a gymnast. Yeah. kind of thing. I don't think I'm unique in other than that, that definitely helped me with getting in the door and, basically instant trust when it comes to spotting because of my size and things like that. And I think I'm fairly good at it.
Yeah.
But I think the rest just falls in line with, passion for what I do and lifting people up and helping get the best out of them by building relationships. And for me, that's the most fun part about, my job is that all the relationships. I mean, I was with, the one school for over 22 years. And during that time, I coached 400 athletes.
Oh, wow.
Just at that school. Not to mention the hundreds of more that I met on the recruiting trail and got to know personally. And a lot of them chose the school and a lot of them didn't. I'm still in contact with the ones who didn't. In fact, we had a couple of recruits in this weekend and I recruited both their coaches.
Oh, wow. That's
when
crazy.
They were college athletes. Yeah. So I've been around a while.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like a big piece of like your uniqueness too, because I think you and I will probably agree that most of these kids, and when I say kids, typically like college age down, is they are craving for some type of like meaningful relationship. And when they're doing something like choosing a school, I think it's really important to feel that you have that relationship either with one of the coaches, multiple of them, because at the end of the day is like you want to feel that connection and have that trust to be able to accomplish things that they want to accomplish individually, but also that fit the mold of like, what you guys are trying to do as a team and as a program as well.
Oh, 100%. It all comes down to that. And it's having that trust and comfortability to really bring out the best. I always tell the girls when they're out there performing, especially on floor, you have two ideas that when you're out there, you want to either perform like everybody should be watching or no one's watching. They're both kind of the same thing, but whatever resonates with you. So the idea is like, I got to be me no matter what. And I think when you have that kind of relationship that you built during the recruiting process and then sustain, I mean, these things last a lifetime. I still have, athletes from 30 years ago reaching out that, I'm not old. I've been coaching a while, but I'm not old.
No, I mean, yeah, I totally agree. That's the part that is, fills your own heart with a certain amount of like joy and passion. And then it just reaffirms, right? Even if it's a text from somebody 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, just them reaching out, I think reaffirms that you're doing what you should be doing and in a meaningful way. So
yeah, those random texts are everything to me, honestly. You know, I'll get a couple of them a year from, you know, but like you said, sometimes 20 years back, and, you know, people going through hard times or celebrating good times, and just, you remembered something you did for them or said to build them up. Even when most of the time it's the things that I can't even remember, because you just do it when it comes naturally. You don't know it, and you just have no idea what kind of impact it makes on somebody's life when that happens.
So what is it that, like, so a big part of, for me, is I call it the non-negotiables. I know some people call it like personal values or core values or things like that. But what are some of those, like, especially when you're recruiting, because that brings up a good point, is the idea is like, I mean, yes, talent and skill is a piece of the puzzle, and it's important to have those things to build, you know, a high level program. But what are some of those like outside traits, those outside characteristics that for you like are very important? Like when you're out on the recruiting trail, what are some of those that you look for in individuals that aren't so much talent or skill related?
Right. You know, that's a key. I mean, Ryan, that's the $1 million question, and it's what to look for. I remember at one time with the program I was with for a long time, it seemed kind of an arms race, you know, back in the mid 2000s, you know, like 2002 to 2010. It was an arms race. Who can get the biggest name and the most accomplished athletes and things like that, or the Olympians or whatever it is. And, you know, the thing is we, you know, I was part of a group of people that assembled quite an arsenal of talent.
Right.
But the missing element was how well they could get together cohesively. They were a great team as far as the individuals that comprised that team. But, you know, as far as team goals in competing in a team environment, you know, fell short a little bit. And so I had to recognize that, first of all, and then, you know, ask myself, what am I doing wrong, or what can I do better?
Right.
And the thing I realized the most is I was recruiting just talent and things like that, and building those relationships, and they're strong. I mean, that was all still there, but getting the kind of people interested in your program that are not talented but have the same core values and character qualities that you're looking for. You know, the kids who were just, you know, I'm sorry, I probably shouldn't call them kids, but they're kids to me.
Yeah.
You know, I've got a daughter in college. I can do that. But they just, you know, trying to recruit the people, and that next wave of recruits that I did that with, you know, helped win back-to-back national championships. Several of those now are coaching in college athletics and at major universities and doing really well. And it's nothing against the group before that was super talented. They're all very successful in their own right as well. But they're how do I say it? It's just coming together in a group environment with the right elements and the right people, and bringing those people together. That's what makes the magic happen. And you know, Tanya and Michael and I talk about it all the time with, you know, these recruits making their decisions. And thank goodness it's getting back to normal, where you can actually get to meet people and talk to them before they figure out. I mean, I never understood that when all that early recruiting stuff came out, and I'm like, wow, so you're going to have a phone call, make a commitment. I mean, that's like getting, agreeing to marry somebody on a blind date with somebody you've never met. I mean,
don't put it past people these days.
I'm sure there's some reality TV there, but
yeah.
So
what for you is obviously in terms of like the coaching realm is like, you know, I really see you as a high achiever, but obviously doing it, like you said, as long as you've done is you're, I would assume, a completely different person now than you were then. There's been a lot of growth and a lot of like feeding your own mind. And so like, what have been how have you continued to like grow and like shape your own development? And it could be as a person or as a coach. We can go either route. And what are some of the biggest changes you've seen from like early when you got on in terms of like onboarding coaching and like from where you are now, and how you've grown in that way?
Well, obviously, for most people who don't know what, I've been through quite a lot over the last several years, and, with a program for a long time, over 22 years, that not working out, being let go, having to, find who you really are.
Yep.
And I think what happens is, for me personally, I'm thankful for all the experiences that I've had, but more importantly, when you have an opportunity to grow like that and really choose, when you hit that road where you're like, okay, now what do I do?
Yeah.
You either, ooze off into a corner and die and rock back and forth, sucking your thumb, which I've never been good at, or you come out swinging. And, so I came out swinging. I went through some humbling times, had to work 4 jobs for several years, be a volunteer coach with great people down there at Auburn. And now I'm at a great program at Oregon State University, but it helps you find, where you are and who you are as a coach. And what I missed the most was the building of people, just lifting these young ladies up, helping them find their way of, who they are and why they do this, and to have fun. When you work that hard, you have to enjoy it too. I mean, that's
no kidding.
a big part of the formula. And, just everything that I've gone through, and to have an opportunity to come out here and be with Tanya and Michael, or who are just not only great coaches, but 2 of the greatest people I've ever met on the planet. And, it's the interesting thing is I'll never forget, in 2019, when they did really well, I was at the national championship with, an Auburn gymnast, their only individual. And, it just so happens that she won their first national championship, individual or otherwise. And I remember running into Tanya and Michael at that meet. And I'm like, knowing what I know now, there are just very few people that I'd really like to work with moving forward in my life, but you're 2 of them. And that was 3 years ago. And here I am. So I just feel very blessed and excited to be here. And I think I probably got off topic there, but
no. I totally agree. Cause I think that, and I asked too, because like, obviously like knowing Tanya and Michael too, and just how they think in terms of like always trying to push the needle in terms of growth, right? Whether it's given the girls tools to be able to grow as people and as gymnasts, or even, within themselves and things that they do, and just, getting to spend some time several weeks ago with them and having more individual conversation, I guess alone time with them, and understanding the way that they think more. So I was curious, is obviously they wouldn't bring somebody on like yourself that didn't think similar to them in terms of being that growth minded and always trying to just kind of like stack and layer ways to improve, right? Like there's always new ways and things that we can add that, bring us a certain amount of joy in our own lives too. So, I think that's super important. And I know that they do a super good job.
No, they do. And, going back to when I had that transition summer and I had no job. So what's better than no job is lots of jobs. I basically hit the road and did the camp trail. And I mean, there was at one point where I had gone back and forth all over the country, but I think on the last leg of like 24 camps that summer, which is a lot, especially for, let's say somebody in their 50s. Anyway, that was just so rewarding. I mean, at one point I was coaching in Destin, Florida, and walking along the sandy beaches, and the next day after a 9-hour flight, I'm walking on glaciers in Alaska.
Yeah.
Just and everything in between. And I think the thing that, really, just reignited that fire that I've always had, that, you kind of get lost when you're with some place or some corporation for long enough, you kind of lose who you are. And your identity belongs to that corporation. And that wasn't me. And to be able to be released from that and have the freedom to go out there and, my gosh, all the amazing coaches that I worked with that summer from all over the all over the country and all over the world at all these camps. It did two things. I learned so much from these people. I continue to learn and adjust to the new way of thinking for the elite gymnastics to the level 10 to the level 7 and all the amazing people along the way. And just for them to kind of get an idea on who I am. It was like they see this 6'5" guy out there coaching college gymnastics. Obviously, I was never a gymnast, and they've got questions. And for them to get to know me as a person and the coach meant a great deal. And now we're seeing that a lot of these kids that I've been able to work with and touched along the way is as far as motivating them and lifting them up. Now it doesn't matter where they're at, Florida, California, New York, Long Island, they all want to, they're all a little bit more interested in Oregon State. And it's but that all goes back to your first question of building relationships.
Yeah. And I think too, and which, a big piece of it to me is to a certain degree too, is I think we come like two different things is I think we become so familiar with where we are. Like you said, when you spend so much time somewhere, is like you struggle to think outside the box. And that's just because you're familiar with that environment, those surroundings, people, could be anything. And then number two with that is like, as you shift outside of that, you have your own, like you said, finding of yourself. And I think that there's a certain ability to be able to relate with kids, people, whoever on a certain level, because it's not comparing stories, but you can share stories in terms of like, I remember there was a time in my life when I spent 6 months frustrated. Talk to me, right? Like there's a certain sense of understanding. And that's what a lot of people look for, because in the back of their minds, right, we're always trying to compare. It's like, my story's got to be worse than your story, right? If I get sick, your sickness has to be worse than mine, right? It's like, you don't understand. It's like, I kind of had grasped the idea. And that's really what I think a lot of people look for is that connection with somebody that they feel like they can relate to.
Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. And just that having that opportunity first when I was trying to finish up in the state system and go down there and be the volunteer coach at Auburn. I mean, I worked landscaping in the morning. So my day consisted basically of getting up at 4 a.m. They allowed me to work through lunch. I took care of the grounds at Auburn University, and the grass looked great, by the way. So that was my day.
Coming from a woodworker, I'm sure it was very pristine.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty good. So anyway, they I'd work from 5 to 1. I'd work through lunch. I'd take a quick shower. I'd be in the gym coaching by 1:15. I'd coach from 1 to 5 with the college team. I'd coach the club team from 5 to 8:30, and some nights I'd go to Home Depot and work from 9 to 1 a.m. Whatever you had to do. But I had to, I got the opportunity to coach the coaches of the club program. But the point is you didn't really have to say a whole lot, but the Auburn athletes would see me on campus and bloody and muddy and just, sweaty in that nice, pleasant, heat in the South that they had down there, like a steam shower 24/7. And I think the thing is they never heard me complain because there was nothing to complain about. Life was good. I got to, I'm able to do what I love to do, and I'm doing what I have to do outside of that to be able to do what I love to do and want to do. And they're a lot more aware than we give them credit for. And they're all very independent, but they also crave leadership. Yeah. And I think when they see somebody, working hard, I can't tell you how many times I've heard somebody say, they're start down the road of like, I'm just kind of struggling today. Things are hard. And then they look at me and they're like, oh yeah, never mind. It's really cool when they kind of have that self-awareness and recognition of not only their struggles, but other people and what they go through, and to be able to recognize that. And I think that's what really builds a cohesive team in the culture, especially that Tanya and Michael created out here, is just kind of having that, not only self-awareness, but awareness for others and respect. And that builds a bond that is pretty unbreakable. And that just goes hand in hand with success and everything else.
Yeah. So what do you think, in your like opinion or expertise, like what's holding a lot of kids back from being able to close that gap between, like, we'll call it, this is probably not the politically correct, but like high school gymnastics to college gymnastics?
I think it's something that everybody struggles with on various levels. The thing that, I like to talk to the girls about is, first of all, just reminding them how hard they've worked and how hard they come. And, we all talk about making those deposits in the bank when you're having a good day and things like that. I think the most important thing is having that sense of the difference between reality and expectations. Mm-hmm. Sometimes the expectations here, but the reality is here. And your job is to inch by inch, day by day, step by step, try to close that gap, adjust, readjust, and refocus on what that looks like to get there. And it's just getting harder and harder. And that's why we're all pushing for that, extra 2 scholarships for gymnastics, because the level 10 demographic alone has doubled in the last 9 years. So it used to be like 5,000 kids strong. Now it's over 10,000. I think possibly 11,000 kids in the level 10 world, all fighting for those spots at developmental nationals now is what they call it, I guess. And making that regional team, and it's getting harder and harder. And there's just more and more talented athletes out there, and a lot of them. So yeah, it's kind of tough, but just knowing where you're at and finding the school that fits you and the people that fit you the best. But just as far as closing that gap goes, is just have to chip away at it. You can't, how do you eat an elephant one bite at a time? We've all used that one, but it's a tough world out there. But those who are aware and have good coaches and have resources and have that ability and desire, I think that's the big thing, is just having that passion. That'll, I told my own kids, both my kids were recruited college athletes. And, the biggest thing I told them, I didn't care where they went. The only thing I asked of them wherever they went was, don't let anybody outwork you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, I think when I was at a Tony Robbins event, he said, and I think this is kind of sounds a lot like with what you're saying too, is we don't lack resources, we lack resourcefulness. And so he's always asked, like, he'd have somebody stand up, why are you, you are where you are now, why are you not where you want to be? And they would list time, money, like all these things. And like, those are resources. You can find those. You can go find more money. You can those things. But how resourceful are you with the people that you have around you and the questions that you're asking them and how you're investing your energy in certain areas? And so, that's always a big challenge, or a challenge I try to instill in a lot of the kids is like, be resourceful. You're in an age where, there's an abundance of knowledge and an abundance of opportunity per se, is like, you just have to be willing to ask the questions or raise your hand to somebody, because it could even be somebody close to them. Right. Even I'm sure you experienced it in your own gym. Like, it's like, you waited 6 months to ask me this, but there was like this fear factor, right? Of like, is he going to like think less of me because I don't ask this question, versus like, man, just raise your hand and ask, because probably 10 others got the same question in the gym too, or struggle, or, looking for a certain opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, you have to break down those walls and let them know that you're real, you're here to listen. My dad always said you had 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. And when you do that, people get comfortable, especially when you're bringing in, every year is, the fun part is you get a new batch of athletes on your team that you recruited, that you've built a relationship. That's why they're there. But then you really have to dig in and learn about them and their past and how they're used to being coached, and some of the skills that they may have worked on that would maybe work better for them now in college and things like that, and just finding that way to grow and being comfortable with expressing yourself and sharing that. I mean, for as independent as all these young people are today, they also crave leadership.
Yep.
They won't admit that, but you can see it, and they resonate with it.
So what for you, obviously the whole title of the podcast is Unbreakable Confidence, because I always tell people, like, if I can give you one thing, especially like in the like strength and conditioning, people are like, I need to get stronger, I need to get faster. I'm like, that all sounds great and dandy, but if I can give your child one thing, is it's confidence. It's just confidence. And so everybody, it's a buzzword, right? So I'm curious for you, like, what is confidence like? What does that mean or look like to you in like maybe your own definition?
Confidence is a word I struggle with, because it is something that is, we all need, and we'd all talk about it. But to me, it's more of attitude.
Okay.
It's not how you do things, or it's not. It is how you do things, but it's how you attack those things.
Right.
For me, going through what I went through, probably not many people would walk through in my shoes to do what I had to do to be able to get what I, was trying to achieve with the state retirement system and whatever, and still be able to coach. And the one thing I learned from that is you just really have no idea how strong you are until you don't have a choice.
Yep.
And so that's why it is, to me, the confidence is more about attitude. You can either do that kind of thing and go through it and whine about it, and complain about it so hard, or embrace it and make it your fuel. And that kind of attitude is that unbreakable confidence means to me that nobody's going to get in my way from what I want. And I may not be able to do it this way, but I'm going to do it this way, and I'm going to get stronger for having to do it that way. And that attitude that you use to attack that is to me the most critical element in confidence. It's like, I don't have to do this. I want to do this.
Yeah.
I want to. And your why, you talk about it as well. What's your why? What are you doing this for? Well, you doing this for funsies, or, whatever. What are you doing it for? What's your attitude about it? Do you actually want to just be a part of something and cheer from the sidelines, or do you want to go out there and have the time of your life and compete for a national championship? It all depends on you. But, going back to the original question, to me, that confidence is the attitude to which you carry forth how you attack your day-to-day tasks and how you want to grow as an athlete and as a person.
I like it. I like it a lot. I got two more questions for you. Number one is what's the biggest piece of advice that you could give like upcoming athletes, any age?
Oh my gosh. Well, that's hard. That's hard. Well, because when you're young, the beauty in youth is the fearlessness that it has. It's like, yeah, I'll try that. I don't know what I'm doing, but I'll give it a shot. And then you get older and smarter. You're like, I don't know. That might hurt if I do it wrong.
Yeah.
But that's not just talking about gymnastics. I mean, that's life.
Yeah, 100%.
Right? I mean, yeah, this is great. I can do this. And then like, oh, wait a minute.
It's funny you say that. Going back to when I was at Tony Robbins, he literally said, he was like, when you guys first started your business, he was like, think how dumb you were. Think how many dumb things you did without even hesitation. And now you start making a little bit of money and you're like, ooh, I don't really know. Do I want to do that?
Yep, that's perfect. It's exactly what I'm talking about. It's that, youthful fearlessness that I think we all lose touch of, trying to play the role that either we or life or where we're at imposes on us instead of just being you. I think that's the biggest question, is finding out who you are.
Yep.
What you really love to do, and doing it to the best of your ability. I've been doing this a very long time. I can't imagine even being more passionate than I am now, but I love what I do every day, and I get to work with young people and listen to them and build them up, and watch them cry, watch them celebrate, and everything in between. And that's just part of life's journey. And it doesn't have to relate to sports. It's just about who you are.
Yeah. I think I totally agree in terms of like, I think it's like finding that inner child again.
Yeah.
100%.
I mean, if you watch me coach, you know I'm a big kid out there.
Oh, yeah. I was going to even say that's kind of one of your uniquenesses too, going back to like the original question is I think that like your playfulness and your goofiness, I think that like sets you apart in a world where sometimes, especially in college athletics, where like it can get very business-like, right? Very corporate-y and very like serious. And we all need, even on the team, right? Like you need that comic relief. Like you need that person that brings the joke or says the inappropriate thing at like the wrong time. It's like, whoa, team meeting. I don't know that one should have waited on that one. Not wrong time. But
you know, it's funny. I started doing that years ago just by chance, and I saw the effect that it had. You know, I just told somebody was having a really like just not a bad day, but just struggling with you know, connecting. I think it was connecting a skill or a sequence on bars, and just really getting frustrated and looking for all that technical advice that and all that years of knowledge that you have as a coach. And then I'm like, I just told them. I told them a dad joke. Next thing you know, they connected it. I'm like, oh. All you had to do was relax.
Yeah.
Weird. You know,
crazy.
Let's have fun. And I mean, gosh, I work too hard. These girls work too hard for less than 4 minutes of gymnastics if you're an all-arounder to go out there and on Friday night and not have fun. I mean, that's what I told Darion at Auburn. I'm like, well, you're at Nationals. Here's your 7 seconds of glory. That's all it took for her to do a vault, and like literally all the hours and hours and hours that it took for these young ladies to train to come down to 7 seconds to be a national champion.
Crazy.
It's a lot, right?
Yeah,
think about it. So why not have fun?
That's it. Last question would be kind of sort of last question is what's one or two, however many, what are one or two things that like you would like people to know about OSU that they may not know about OSU? Specifically, let's just go in terms of gymnastics too.
Woo. You know, I think we're, it's hard. I've been here a year. I've had an amazing experience. I came in last year, about a week ago last year, you know, kind of late in the fall, late in training, seeing the character of this team and the culture and of the team that Tanya and Michael have, you know, spent their life together out here building has been amazing. The camaraderie, you know, honestly, we went to regionals last year, and I remember your question. I'll get back to it, but I'll circle back to it. But anyway, going to that regional meet, we're against the Big Ten champions, the Pac-12 or the Big 12 champions, the host team, and the number 1 seed Florida. So there's already 4 teams that are like 2 conference champions, the number 1 team in the country, and the host team, which is also a very good team. And I'm like, you know, guys, it doesn't matter. You know, it's anybody's game. And they went out there and they, you know, to me as a coach, having a team and being able to work with a team like that just knows who they are and how they compete, and have the best meet of the year be that last meet. Win, lose, or draw. We didn't make nationals. I tell you what, it felt to me like we won the national championship because of what they overcame and what they knew. And plus, we've got this beautiful new gym.
No kidding.
That does not hurt at all. And it's just, you know, I think the thing is they're valued out here. Think about how this transpired in a pandemic times where the economy's not great. To put together a facility like this, I think shows a lot about the you know, how much the people here think about the work that Tanya and Michael have done over 25 years together out here, and what they build, and their uncompromising value system of, we're going to be successful, but we're not going to win at all costs. We're not win at all costs. We're going to do it the right way, win, lose, or draw. And just seeing the family environment and the people coming back that I have no idea who they are. I remember their names when they competed years ago, and we competed against each other when I was at, you know, different places, and just seeing them come back and the ties that they still have to the program and the coaches. I think that's incredible. I mean, that's really what we should, to me, all be doing. This is what I'm doing it for. To kind of have that and build, and it just, you know, builds upon itself till you have this giant family And it's just incredible. I think it's an incredible environment out here. The weather is amazing. The fall colors right now are spectacular. People would used to talk like, doesn't it rain out there? We're like, well, yeah, it rains out here. But don't forget, I worked landscaping in Alabama for 2 years. And yeah, that one year it only rained twice in the winter, once for 30 days and once for 45. But I mean, come on. But the weather out here is beautiful. It is, you're a couple hours from the mountains, 40 minutes from the coast. Corvallis is, it's a college town. It's 65,000 people total. The university is probably half of that with their student population. It's just, it's really an unnoticed secret. I mean,
I'm fully with you. I know when I got the opportunity to come out over the summer for y'all's camp, it was even as Kate and I left, right? It was like, as soon as we got in the airport, it was like, oh my God, you don't know what you don't know, right? Thank God we had a chance to come out here and just check it out. And then obviously, even like you said, the people and meeting Tanya and Michael and everything else, it's like, holy cow, why does not everyone want to come out here?
I know, right? Well, and the thing is, some people get caught up on the distance. It's like, well, everything's far away, but nothing's real far away when you get on an airplane. And my thing is, come out and see it. If you don't like it, or at least, even if it's not what you're looking for in a school, or you don't relate with the coaches or whatever, at least come check it out, because it is, just a well-guarded secret. Not intentionally, of course. We're trying to get that secret out there, but it's just it's an amazing place. I love it out here.
All right, last thing, rapid fire. Okay,
got it.
Favorite food, go.
Steak.
Favorite hobby.
Oh gosh, I have so many. Come on, you can't do that to me. Anything that I can do creatively, building furniture, art, whatever. Yeah.
Beach or lake?
Lake?
Beach or lake? Which one do you prefer?
Lake.
Lake. Last one, dream vacation spot anywhere in the world.
Oh man, I want to go to my homeland. I want to go see Italy.
There you go.
That's on my bucket list. I want to see where my grandparents came from.
I gotcha. Well, man, I am super glad that you took a little bit of time. I know we were hoping to be able to connect when I was out there, and we were both kind of running ragged between practice and everything else. So I'm glad we got to actually connect. And I hope that everybody out there was able to find my goal always is to be able to get one little nugget, right? One little thing that you can take away. It may have been something that you learned about their program, something that you learned personally about Bryan, or something that you can actually implement within your life. So as always, if you guys have any questions or want to continue, where's the best place they can continue to follow either your journey or even OSU's journey via social media? What are those? Do you know?
Yeah, Beaver Gym on Instagram is the easiest. I'm at OSU Coach Bryan on all social media. I'm real easy to find. But yeah, just keep following Oregon State Gymnastics. We've got a fantastic team this year. It's going to be a lot of fun. Ryan, I really appreciate your time. I really enjoy being around people who are a little bit crazier and more high energy. So,
well, I do a good job of that.
Yeah, I'm not going to compete anymore. I'm twice your age or something like that. I don't know.
Well, cool, man. I hope everybody, like I said, got something out of it. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, drop them down below. Put it in the comments. Put it anywhere. Reach out to either one of us if you have anything that you want to know further. And as always, continue to go out and create your own identity. Create that sense of unbreakable confidence, whatever that looks like within your own life. Can't wait to see you guys on the next episode. Love you guys. Peace.